Today's reflection is on Luke chapter 5, verses 1 to 11, and today's verse is Luke chapter 5, verse 4. When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." This is a very beautiful verse, and it's a very important chapter too, because in this chapter, Jesus calls his very first disciple and our very first pope, Simon Peter. Before we get to the verse, let's try to understand Simon Peter's condition when he met Jesus. He hasn't slept all night. He has faced disappointment upon disappointment, dissatisfaction upon dissatisfaction. Maybe he's even frustrated. Each time that he lifted the nets out of the water, he got no results. Do we at times feel the same way in our lives? With our relationships, with our academics, while pursuing something that we want to ace at? We keep trying, but we keep failing at the same. And we too, in our lives, give up hope and return to the shore and start cleaning our nets. So anyway, getting back to Simon Peter, he returns to the shore with not fish but despair, disappointment, maybe even doubt in himself, as we all feel at times when things don't go our way and when we have done everything that we could. For example, we stayed awake for nights for certain exams and we just don't seem to get the required marks. When we try to have a better relation with our parents and other loved ones, but it ends with nothing but shutting of doors too hard and grumbling and shouting and frustration. So now he meets Jesus, who tells him to push his boat a little offshore. Usually, when we face disappointment, all we want to do is go home and sulk or cry. And if someone would even talk to us, let alone ask us of a favor at such a time, it takes real patience to be patient with them. And we hope to be patient with others, like Simon Peter was, when we are going through hard times in our lives. Then Jesus asks him to push the boat further into deep waters and tells them to let down their nets for a catch. Let us look into verse 2. Simon Peter and his companions had already washed their nets, and Jesus was asking them to put those nets in the water again. How many times have we been ready, packed our bags, and are just waiting to leave our sticky situations and move on, rather than giving that hard lesson, that hard relation another try? How often have we ignored that soft voice from within, trying to tell us to try again and not give up, to unpack our bags and just stay? Jesus is asking him to have faith, to trust in him, to listen to his voice, to try again. He knows he has been through hard times. He knows his struggles. He's asking him to trust him, to listen to him once more, because it will be worth it. It will be worth washing those nets again. So anyway, moving on, Simon Peter takes this step, listens, and we all know the result. He catches such a large number of fish that both the boats were about to sink. Simon Peter thinks he is undeserving of all this and tells Jesus to go away from him because he is a sinful man. We too feel undeserving of God's blessings at times, and undeserving as we may be, God still chooses to bless us He still chooses to act in our lives. Simon Peter was a mere fisherman. We do not understand the gravity of this at times. He was a fisherman. All his life, he might have only thought about how to survive the next day. But he survived all right. He survived in the hearts of millions for the next 2000 years and still counting. He might have never thought about changing the world, but God still called him, and he left a mark that still touched millions of lives. God could have chosen anyone to be the first disciple, but he chose Peter to show you that he doesn't care about where you come from, who you are, which race you belong to, which language you speak, or what is your occupation. You can still do great things. You can still change the world for the good. You can make a difference. From this verse, we most importantly understand that we need to have faith. Faith can move mountains. Faith can do the impossible. Faith as small as a mustard seed. Because Jesus told us that even that much is enough. It is so important to listen to God's voice, which guides us to do what is right, which tells us to take leaps of faith at times. God calls us to trust Him, to trust His voice, and to not be afraid. When we listen to Him, He fills the emptiness in our souls and makes us whole. That day, it was not only Simon Peter's net that was filled, but it was his heart that was finally filled too. Simon didn't go up to Jesus and ask him to help him out. Jesus gave him counsel without him even asking. How sure should we be then that He will guide us when we ask Him? Jesus appeared in Simon's life at a point in his life when he needed Him the most. Let us not lose faith and trust that He will be there when we need Him too, and pray that He changes our disappointment into satisfaction and failures into success. Thank you.